When writing the script, it had been a hectic time for you boy. Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator came out as an almost full release demo, Overwatch had finally hit open beta and I still haven't had the time to play it, and one special little game went on short-term alpha demo. Coming from the people at Team Ninja, we were graced with the window of access to their newest game, Nioh. I had seen some hype about it beforehand, and a couple of my friends were really barking up a tree about it, so I said, heck, let's give it a go. Honestly, I went in only knowing that it was Samurai Dark Souls. So I think the biggest thing we need to get out of the way is that there's nothing wrong with a game coming out and basing itself heavily off the groundwork of another game. There is an entrepreneurial saying that goes, find something that is successful and make it better. This is exactly what Nioh sets out to do, and in my opinion, succeeds. If you've ever played a Souls game, then you've played Nioh. There's a stamina bar that limits your actions, you heal and level up at bonfires, enemies and level resources reset on healing. The game has a pseudo-online interactive feature with other players. It's the same general groundwork for the Souls games. However, there are very many differences. The first and foremost being attacking. If you were one of those people who describe combat in the Souls games as clunky, then this might be for you. Where the Souls games have a much slower, more deliberate pace to them, Nioh's combat is much faster and much more fluid. Combat is also greatly expanded with the stance system. Weapons can be held in 3 different stances during combat. A low stance that has quick strikes and fast movement, a mid stance that is well-rounded and benefits from blocking, and a high stance with slow but crushing blows. It doesn't stop there, however, as there are many passive and active skills to unlock for each weapon type that can add to combat. Nioh has a combat tree that allows you to customize additional attacks based on what skills you've unlocked. The combat is very versatile and extremely enjoyable. I didn't think I would be using weapons like the bow and arrow, but once I started getting headshot bonuses, I couldn't stop from trying to snipe any enemy that didn't have a helmet on. The most interesting addition, and one that can take a little used to getting the hang of, is the ki pulse. Basically, when using up stamina to attack, the bar will quickly refill right after. If you hit R1 during this, you'll get that stamina replenished. There is timing to it, however, as you can hit it too early and only get back some of it. It functions very much like the reload mechanic from Gears of War, rewarding you for accurate timing in the heat of battle. What's more is that the R1 button is also used to switch between stances, allowing you to ki pulse and switch stance at opportune times, and keeping yourself in battle. Building back stamina is important, as Nioh has an extra penalty for running out. When your stamina bar is empty and flashing red, any move that causes stamina depletion will instead cause you to go into an exhausted state. When exhausted, any attack will knock you down, giving the opponent a free ground stab. Also, any charged heavy attack will be extra damaging with a cinematic when done to an exhausted opponent. This adds extra layers to combat and makes for cautious plays and correct ki pulses to keep you in the action. One of the other big changes in gameplay is items. In the Souls games, items were very deliberately placed, with enemy drops not being entirely frequent. Nioh, on the other hand, has what I call Diablo items, where drops are very frequent, and the same item can be found multiple times with different rarities, stats, and bonuses. Much like combat, picking up items, surfing through stat differences, and selling items is extremely fluid, and there's never a moment of tedium to make you feel like you're breaking up the flow of the game. The other thing I want to talk about, however, is level design. The first demo level consistently exhibits smart and relatively painless ways to advance through the level once you know what's going on. When first exploring, you will come across areas that are purposefully sectioned off to be completely optional outside of some enemies and some items. Once you know the lay of the land, you can just run by these areas without caring or aggroing any of the enemies. I love this, as it makes the level feel big when exploring and streamlined when trying to get back to where I was. The first level is also generous with shortcuts. Granted, you find them. It feels very well paced, and I never got an overwhelming sense of dread from dying with a lot of souls deep in a level. As long as I was playing carefully, I knew I could probably get back there. Enemies also have a very, very small aggro range, which helps in avoiding unnecessary battles on your way back to your last death. There were many things in this game that I did not have the time to mess around with, since this alpha demo was for only a limited amount of time. On top of the katana, spear, and axe, there's also ninjutsu and magic, neither of which I was able to play with. I never did any of the player summoning. The game had the materials for it in place, but I never actually went to see if it was in the demo or not. Also, after beating the first level, the demo actually gives you a second level to play, but I didn't have the time to actually go through it before the demo closed. Overall, I'm extremely excited for Nioh. I played through the demo twice, once on my friend's PS4 and once on my own for recording footage. The gameplay feels amazing, and I really hope that the smart level design continues through the full retail release. I couldn't drop the game when playing it, and very rarely did I feel frustrated by my deaths. The only point of real frustration was coming from the learning of the hitboxes and attack patterns for the boss. I will be buying Nioh, hopefully on release, and I'd like to have a full review of it done as well to see if the game lives up to my expectations. After the writing of this script, the developers took community feedback and showcased a changelog of updates, so we know they're trying to fine-tune it before release. As it stands right now, it shows an extreme amount of promise, and I greatly look forward to getting my hands on the real deal.